Hey, welcome to day 3 of Cascadia Rising 2022 here on Bainbridge Island in Washington. I've got with us one of our team leads for our potentially most complicated teams, our disaster hubs. This is Alice, and she's going to tell us what we're doing on day 3 here.
Great, thanks Scott. So we're really excited. We have so many volunteers here helping us out today because we're simulating what it would look like if we stood up and actually ran one of our disaster hubs as we've been in this planning process. We're running a simulation, which is a specific kind of drill or exercise. As we mentioned, we've got actors playing these different roles. We have set up the stage here, which is the Island Center Hall, one of our parks here on the island, as if it were a disaster hub.
Yeah.
And this is how we would run things. Kevin, can
Yes.
you tell, this is Kevin, our moulage artist.
Hi there.
You want to tell us a little bit about what you're doing here for one of our volunteered, injured community members?
Sure. So what we're doing is called moulage, and that is injury simulation with the use of makeup and prosthetics. And what I'm doing right here is a broken wrist. By the time the responders would get there, I mean, her anxiety is somewhat modified because now she's used to having that thing sitting there. But she's still going to be traumatic. You know, her blood pressure and all that stuff is going to be off kilter. So that's what we're doing here. Everything that we use is the makeup that we use is all professional makeup. It's not bought at the dollar store. It's the same exact stuff they use actually in Hollywood. And we have a variety of props we also use, like the bone and stuff like that, that we use to simulate different kinds of injuries.
So when we get folks who are coming into our reception desk, we ask one big question: are they sick or not sick?
Okay.
If they're sick, we send them over here, and then we can sort out from there. And you know, in the triage world, a concept is big sick, little sick. So these are really easy ways to figure it out. We use the same triage tagging system that many EMTs use, that our fire department uses. And so we'll use red, yellow, and green tags as our beamers and our MRC members come and greet our, folks with medical needs and decide, are these big sick or little sick? So we have over on this side some chairs where our patients who have smaller needs are being examined first and then treated possibly over here. And then you'll see behind me we've got a supply table set up. Bainbridge Prepares has created a system for having these emergency medical supplies available at our hubs in our prepared boxes to be pulled out just in the case of an emergency, as well as some resupplies. So we're kind of stockpiling that. So we've pulled out some of those bags and those tools here. So we've just talked about the medical triage area, and I'm here with one of our volunteers who is with our MRC, our Medical Reserve Corps, and she is playing the role of one of our lead medical volunteers for the day. Raj, do you want to talk us through a little bit about the acting that we're going on inside and the cases you've seen?
Yeah, so I'm Raj, thank you. So in secondary triage that takes place inside, we have patients currently being treated for hypothermia, or extreme cold injuries. We have patients with a suspected head injury that we're monitoring and assessing. We are treating patients with broken arms or sprains as well in there. We also communicate with logistics in there to make sure, what are our resources? Can we evacuate anyone? Do we have the means to evacuate? If not, then we try to stabilize as much as we can with the resources that we're given. And then we kind of go from there.
That's great.
So it's nice.
Yeah, and on my other side here we have Jared Moravec, who's the Deputy Fire Chief. And tell us about the partnership between the fire department and especially our medical folks.
Absolutely. So the partnership between the fire department and the Medical Reserve Corps and the Beamers team, it's critical because at the end of the day, we're going to have interaction and we're going to be working together. So the critical patients that they're treating at the hubs, we're ultimately going to have those folks passed off to us, and we'll be coordinating where those patients need to go and then formulating a plan for how to get them there. So in addition to that, just as part of training and preparation like we're doing at this exercise, because managing chaos is the fire department's business on a day-to-day type of routine, we've got a lot of experience and can help share some of our expertise with the Medical Reserve Corps folks and the Beamers to help make things more efficient for them.
One of our other important stations that we have inside of the Disaster Hub is comms, communications. Alice, tell us about what is behind this door right now.
Well, behind this door is the most soundproof room in the building, but it's our communications center. So we have a public information officer who's kind of in charge of the group, who is able to receive information from outside the hub and then transmit it to the public, because one of our most important functions of a hub is just to get information to people. In a disaster that doesn't involve having cell phones and television and maybe commercial radio, we have an absolutely robust team of amateur radio operators throughout the island.
Yep.
And they're connected to then the emergency operations center at the city. And then they have connections to each one of our hubs has a communication hub, communication center.
I happen to have with me our technology leads and a setup that they've got going here at this specific hub exercise. Gentlemen, can you introduce yourselves and tell us about what we've got here?
Hi, I'm Rakesh Parania.
I'm Pascal Schubert.
And what we've got here today is we've got SpaceX's Starlink low Earth orbit satellite communication system. In the aftermath of a disaster, after all of our terrestrial communications are unavailable, this allows us to get high-speed, high-quality internet from a constellation of orbiting satellites. So we're completely independent today of terrestrial infrastructure. We are off the grid right now.
Yeah.
We've been running on a solar panel, this battery system, and we've been providing internet for everyone here, both the volunteers and the actors in the scenario.
We are here with our executive director, Lauren Bast. Now, we're still here on day 3 of the hub's activation, so I want to get his take on that, but I also want him to speak to, this is the end of a 3-day exercise, which has been big for our tiny little island. We've had a pretty significant turnout and planning for this. So, Lauren, tell me first, big picture, how do you feel about the last 3 days?
I feel like the last 3 days have gone amazingly well. Leading up to this has been months in planning, mostly by other people, and very stressful meetings, but fun but stressful meetings, where it's like, we got to do this and this and this, and have these volunteers over, meet over here, and just a ton of work, and there's so many things that you may not have thought about. It could be lunches on day 2, and what people are going to be picked up at this port in Bremerton. And it's all coming together so well. And that's truly a testament to a whole bunch of people,
We have awesome people
that are doing this, that you can hear, going through the instructions right now.
I think that today's gone really well. We have been able to simulate activating one of our disaster hubs here on the island, work through some actors to serve as patients, and practice our reception and registration and medical, all of the things that we've been planning for a very long time. So I was really pleased with how it's gone so far, and then the first 2 days of the exercise went really well.
Couldn't agree more. If we're not training, we're not learning. And we've done a lot of great training over the past 3 days, and we've learned a ton, and I can't wait to see how we incorporate all of those lessons learned into improving everything that we're doing.
Yeah, I think for me, communications was one of the themes through the 3 days. The mission critical aspect, when you assume that landlines are down and cell phones are down, how are you talking with your team? Because we've now built a pretty substantial team, right? It doesn't do any good if we can't get folks to be able to talk to each other both within the island and off the island.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is for us to really move into that official after action mode. We'll do some debriefs. We have a survey going that will go out to all participants. So from our emergency operations center to our flotilla, the vessel captains, to our staff that were actually transported on and off island, as well as all the people that played here today. So to get that feedback and incorporate it into a formal corrective action plan, we'll be able to order supplies and resources, better comms equipment, all of the things that we've identified, and really work that into our standard operating procedures, and then we'll be that much more prepared next time.
Everybody's hard work is really going to pay off in the long run.
Yeah, I've been thrilled with our people. They're awesome human beings.
Absolutely.
Thank you.